Hi guys, so today I'd like to talk a little bit about the recruitment process and how to prepare for the interview. You can find a lot of websites with information on the latest and the most common questions that the recruiter might ask and also the answers. As long as the questions are really very common ones, when it comes to the answers, I wouldn't say that these are the answers that you can rely on. And why do I think so? If you can find it somewhere and somebody has created it, then definitely it is worth using the answers. And very often I'm also asked for help, but also for answers to specific questions. Usually people tell me, okay, you're the career coach, so you will tell me the answers, you will tell me what to say, and so on and so on. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like that because we are all different. We have different experiences, we have different background, we have different qualifications. So it's not possible really to create one set of answers that would be suitable for every person who's going to attend the interview. And as an example, I could actually tell you a little bit about my experience. Since I'm a qualified English teacher and I have quite a lot of experience, some time ago I started cooperating with a few companies and I do assessment of qualifications of the future teachers selected for a specific course for a specific company. And how does it work? How do I do it? So basically, I don't do the screening of the candidates. I don't select the interview. I don't select the CVs. I just do the second stage of the interview. So basically, what I get is usually an email with a CV. And I get some contact details of the specific person that has been selected by a different recruiter to contact and to talk to and to check if the person is really qualified for the specific course for a specific company. And what I do in this case when I get the CV, the first thing is definitely not the picture. Sometimes the pictures that are attached to the CV are really not the best ones. But obviously, if you are going to be a teacher, you don't have to be the Miss Polonia or Miss of the world. So the picture is actually nothing that is, important for me as a person who's, choosing the right candidate and checking if the person is really qualified to do the job. What I pay attention to is definitely the qualifications and the background, of course, when it comes to education. So first I look through the qualifications and then I look through the experience. If it's, for example, a course that is strictly a business English course, of course, when I talk to the candidate, I ask him or her about the experience of teaching business English. And what I hear very often at the beginning of the conversation is that, I have a lot of experience. I've been teaching for 15, for 20 years. So I'm definitely the right person to run this kind of course. But later when I start asking further questions, very often it turns out that the person is not really up for the job. Of course, you don't always need to have the experience when it comes to the job that you're applying for. And let's again talk about the teacher of English. Of course, when you start teaching, usually you start teaching teenagers, sometimes adults as well. But of course, you will not have the experience immediately, the experience, at the initial stage of teaching business English. So you need to get, the job at some point or the course where you can teach this kind of English. And of course, if you teach teenagers, you will not get the chance, or at least not much, to teach this kind of language. So it's fine as long as you are prepared and you know what to offer to the recruiter. So if this is a kind of course which is based on the business English, you need to know how to do the job if you have no experience. So instead of telling me that, there are so many websites, I'm going to use the resources which are on the websites, this is not definitely something that I'll be satisfied with. Because why should I select this kind of person if there are 3 or maybe 5 or maybe 10 other teachers who already have this kind of experience? So instead of saying something like that, it would be better to offer some specific, tools, some specific topics, and how you would do them. In this way, you're going to convince the recruiter that you really care about the job in the first place, and then that also you know how to do the job, because it's no one's responsibility to check how you'll be doing the job. You are the one who is responsible, and you are the one who should know how to do the job that you're applying for. Of course, I'm not talking about, monitoring your progress, monitoring the job that you're doing by the company which will employ you. But as a person who's applying for a job, you're the one who's responsible for knowing how to do it. So this is one of the reasons why I'm saying that, what you are going to present to the recruiter during the interview is definitely something that is very individual. That's why it's actually impossible to find ready-made answers somewhere on the websites or on somebody's blog, and to know exactly how to answer this question and that question and so on. The same when it comes to your strengths and weaknesses. Definitely, sometimes candidates try to hide some weaknesses. They don't want to admit to certain problems that they've had. And usually when I ask something like, okay, so tell me about your experience with a very difficult group and how you managed the situation. No, there were no students like that. There was no such a situation. I've never had any problems. Is it good? No, it's not good. Because I want to know how you are going to deal with a difficult situation if it really, arises. So instead of saying and lying that, you've never had such a situation, it's better really to analyze your experience, to think about your previous, experiences with different groups, age groups, and so on, and then describe it and really think of, the ways how you manage that, because that will really show the recruiter what kind of person you are, how you act, how you react to certain situations, and if this is, the right way of reacting for this specific company, because every company has its culture and every company has its policies. So definitely, it doesn't mean that if you're not accepted for the job, there is something wrong with you. It's just about the specific culture, the policies, and the specific kind of personality that they are looking for. So instead of, trying to be someone else, it's better to be authentic. And it's better to really show who you are, because if you're not the person they are looking for, it's better to, be rejected at the initial stage than to start the job and really after a few months not be accepted for a long-term contract, which is going to be definitely a worse situation for both you and also the recruiter and the company, because they will need to do the recruitment process again. And you will have to go through the stress once again. So in one of the last posts that I mentioned on my LinkedIn, actually I said that, if you are well prepared, you will not be so stressed about the recruitment, about the whole, process, and you will be happy to actually go and talk to the recruiter, because you will know what you have, you will know your strengths, you will know your weaknesses, and that will make you more comfortable and definitely more confident. So how to prepare really for the interview. Definitely one of the things is, to think of your strengths, think of your weaknesses, but don't try to remember something that you've seen, on a website. It's better really to think about your experiences, about who you are, and what you should change about yourself. Another example from actually real life. If you say that you are a great team player, but deep in your heart you know that you are not, there's also no point lying, because usually the companies call your previous employer. If not your previous employer, then definitely one of the references that you will provide in the CV. And usually they want to talk to someone who is at least your colleague, if not your employee or your former colleague. So definitely they will find out about your weaknesses sooner or later. That's why there is no point, of lying and pretending to be someone else, someone that you're not, just, to land the job. So instead of, trying to make yourself better person in the eyes of the recruiter, it's better to say like, okay, yes, I have this and this and this weakness, and I've already started working on weakness number one. I know how to get rid of the second weakness, and so on and so on. Last year, I was actually asked about, if it's really worth telling the truth. And maybe it's better to hide, because what if they don't employ me because of telling them my weakness? Well, it's definitely not a failure. I would say that it's better because if you really tell what's wrong, what's the weak point, what's the area that you should improve, it is a clear sign for the recruiter to assess you and see that, okay, you are a person who is aware of the weaknesses, of the strengths, and you know how to act to get better. If they really don't employ you because of telling them the truth, you can also ask yourself if this is really a place where you want to work. Because if you are kind of punished for being honest, maybe this is not the place where you really want to work in the first place. On the other hand, you can think if this is really a company for you, because if they have some rules that you don't want to follow, or if they want to work with certain kind of people and you are definitely not this kind of person, then this is also some kind of signal for you that it would not be the best place for you. It's better to find a place where you will feel comfortable being you, and at the same time you will have the chance to work on your weaknesses, to improve the areas where you're not really the best. Maybe for some other companies it will not be an issue at all, and nobody will even pay attention to what you've said, because there will be a focus on some other skills and some other experiences that you already have, and for them that will be the most important thing. So next time when you are preparing for your interview, just think about these things, and also think about your CV, because as I said, you need to be authentic. How do recruiters check if you are authentic or not? Definitely by looking at your CV, and of course you are the one who is preparing the CV. So if you are going to write something again which is not true about you, that will be quickly revealed, because it's quite easy to check if the candidate is saying the truth or not. You just answer questions which are related, of course, to what you can read, and then once you go deeper and deeper and deeper, you actually know if the person is lying or not, if the person really has the experience or not. Sometimes it does happen that really people are so well prepared and are so convincing that they manage to get the job. And unfortunately, after some time, the managers or the recruiters will say that, well, as I've read in one of really good books about recruitment, I've hired your CV, not you. So just think if this is really something that should happen to you, if you should be hired because of the lies which are in your CV, or if you should be hired because you really have a lot of assets, and these assets should make you better than other candidates, and you should be selected because of who you really are, not who you are on the paper. So this is actually what I wanted to discuss today, and what I wanted to make clear, especially for those of you who expect, to talk to someone, whether it is a coach or a counselor or any other person, and who expect to get the answers. It doesn't really work like that, and it is very easy for the recruiters to figure out that this is not, a real answer. This is not who you really are. So you will be looking for another candidate, another person that should get the job, because you can easily, figure out if the person is authentic or not. So keep that in mind, and don't give up if you're someone who's looking for a job right now. Just look through your CV once again. Check your weaknesses, check your strengths if you are aware of them. If not, just try to figure out what it really is, how to improve yourself, how to improve your skills. And next time you go for the interview, just be yourself.